Well, hi friends. It's time for our weekly Lenormand reading. I'm sorry I'm a bit late. Yesterday I had to get out of the house early and I just didn't have time. I had intention, but not enough time. But, okay, let's see what Spirit would have for us. This is the week of September 22nd. Today is September 23rd, though. 3 days before my solar return. But let's see what Spirit will have for us today, okay? First card out. It's me. Me as a 3-year-old child, so I have to laugh. Oh, that's funny. I don't know how these cards know, but they do. All right. The upper left-hand corner is the clover, or are the clovers, I should say. Many multiple blessings. I see flowers, but I also see the coffin. The coffin is that transformational energy. So, it kind of gives that feeling a little bit of, the butterfly in the cocoon, the young child, that new energy, kind of like New Kid on the Block feel too, because the house is there. And then the rider is that forward momentum, right? But how do you learn something unless you just dive in and start learning it? When you start a new job, how it takes probably about 6 months before you start feeling confident, that feeling to it, okay? But I see roots in the trees, so you've got, that stability, and then, that environment of healing energy as well, with the flowers next to it. So, I feel like you shouldn't worry if there's any fears. There shouldn't be any, because everything is meant to be foundational kind of feeling to it too. So, that new energy can be a little intimidating, but I'd like to see you approach it with that childlike wonderment and a little bit of creativity, okay? The dog is there. The dog is, your friendships. It's your close family. It could even be like your close work environment, because it's by the house. So the house are your closer knit groups, okay? And then we've got the fish. The fish are your day-to-day activities. It's abundance, it's attraction. Those are the people that are meant to come into your life will find you kind of a feeling to it. Your supporters, your friendship base, like even doing these readings. I mean, I know I have a small group that follow me, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And if anybody is, called upon to share it, please do, if you think that the reading would benefit someone else. Because not all readings are going to resonate with everyone, but what I'm dealing with here are archetypal energies. So in one fashion or another, these energies may apply. So let's say it's, the new job. It could be the new relationship. It could be the new, project you're starting. These are what these cards are referring to. I might speak of something specific that is, also related, but it may, in a broader aspect of, also explain something else in a similar, a similar energy, but not the same context. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like I need to explain that a little bit better, but let's go with the next portrait, though. Maybe that'll help me. All right, there's the anchor. That anchor, that's kind of having trust, right? It's having, it also kind of has a little bit of stubborn energy attached to it. And, but in this context, because it's got the fox in the center, the fox is kind of a career focus card too, in the cross. And then the ship, it's kind of like sticking to the project. Okay, you just have to keep going, right? Yeah, you're going to make some mistakes. Mistakes are part of learning, though, and even in life, any mistake that it's not a mistake if you've learned from it. It's that feeling, okay? But I see partnerships here. I see ships coming in but I do see a little bit of boundary, okay? Or also possibly cutting ties that don't serve you. Kind of like weed it out, separating the wheat from the chaff, kind of a feel to it. Hard work and courage, and, it's kind of like face your fears, or not. Courage would be like, it's it's movement forward, but it is in the face of fear. Okay, that's what courage is. Okay, not face your fears, but face your, the challenge in the face of fear. Okay. All right, let's see what else we have. Oh, the ring is there. The ring is like, kind of an event, or it could be, kind of like collaborations, because the garden is there as well. That's where you come together, and it's kind of like a group exercise kind of a feel to it. And surround yourself with those like-minded individuals, people who are kind of on the same page, that have your same morals, values, that sort of thing. And the heart is there. So I feel like those are your passions, the things that bring you joy. And then the stars. So the stars, let the stars be for signs, feeling, follow your moral compass, act out of integrity and authenticity. Okay. See, the next card out is the moon. The moon is shedding light, right? But it can kind of only be at night, and the moon needs the sun to reflect from, that shines on to the situation, right? So it offers clarity. The clouds is that thought process, right? And it can be challenging at times, just like decision making. I'm a Libra, right? And Libras have a hard time making decisions, is our, it's kind of what we're known for. And I don't think that I have a difficult time making a decision. I feel like if a couple decisions or a couple choices are presenting themselves, the reason why I would have a difficult time is because I know that there's a third better. So that's kind of like, how I feel about that situation. I do the best I can, though. I try not to, I try to look at all of the options before I like to make a decision. I know that's true. Let's see. Okay, that upper left-hand corner is our clovers, and then the far right is the mountain. That mountain is is an obstacle card, but in this case, I think it means opportunity. So you're overcoming challenges that are creating opportunities, okay? So it's kind of like stick with the plan. Don't give up now. You're more than halfway feel, okay? Let's see. A lot of people will give up. Give up too soon. Don't give up. Trust that process, okay? Now, the bottom left are the flowers, and the bottom right is the lady, which that's kind of like, a recovery feel to it, springtime energy, but also, invitations and appreciations and that sort of thing, okay? Our card in the center are the lilies. Oh, my lilies. I just love my lilies. And then the child, which is kind of a grandparent kind of a combination, or, someone that's younger and older. So maybe an age difference. Okay. Let's see. I see a pathway though, and I feel that there may be some decisions to make. Okay. Emotional decisions, but the moon is there, and that is, your instincts, I know sometimes, like I said before, about the, making decisions, there might be a third better option. But if you just make a choice and then maybe, go from there, don't let it stagnant, stuck energy get in the way of making decisions. Okay. And I'm just relating that to personal too, but in general, some people get paralyzed, analysis paralysis, and that's not good. Okay. I do see a second chance because the coffin and the clover are there, and I do see the cross, which the cross and the clover kind of indicates a little bit of spiritual protection, and then the sun is there. So, things are looking up, things are looking bright. There's healing and recovery, but I do feel that there's transformational energy, losing, how the snake sheds its skin. It has that feeling to it, but silence is also indicated here. So the absence of communication, the birds as well are in this portrait. no problem can be solved with the same energy that created the problem, but also communication is vital in order to overcome obstacles. Okay. So, you can't sit back and complain about something if you're not willing to do the work to try to fix the problem. Okay. Then I see the house and the bear. The bear in the house, that would be like mothering, mother energy, that mother and nurturer. But it's also like, that protector, that, serve and protect feel. Okay. The dog is there as well. So that's your, the close family members. So you're there to protect your close family members, but it's also a mother keeps a family together. That is vital. I know everyone has their role in a family dynamic. The woman is kind of the nurture, the softer energy, and then the masculine energy, the father, is more protecting and serving, and even monetarily wise. My whole life I've always had to be the provider. So that's being hyper independent isn't good either. So you need to rely on one another for a true partnership. Okay. I do see an aha moment. I love to see aha moments. So that means we are going to find the solution, but we might have to, break through the obstacle that might be in the way. Okay. So you might need to get to a person to get to another person feeling, because the lady is there. So you might need, like, let's say you're dealing with an offer or us, you can relate this to just about anything, but how the offer will get presented and they'll say, well, let me talk to my wife. It's that feeling to it. Okay. But I do see the heart in the center. So that's good. That's like, the passion, loving, nurturing feeling. And the book is there. So that might be a little bit of a mystery attached to it. Okay. The mice are here with the fish. That is, a little bit of loss of funds, or are draining, a little bit of a drainage. So try to cut corners where you can, like if there are any, leaky faucets. I mean, that's one thing, but there's also, like let's say you've got some subscriptions that you might not be aware that you have, that might be coming out of your bank account that you don't use. Try to go through there and do some housekeeping. Okay. Let's see, what else do I see? I see multiple decisions and choices that are coming up, and might have to do with travel plans, because I see the ship and the mountain are there. So that's a little bit of, travel abroad, or traveling a little bit further distance. Okay. Maybe a little bit of migration in that as well. But everything looks bright. I mean, I love to see the heart in our final portrait here. Hard work is definitely paying off. And the snake is there. So I feel like you might need to use a little bit of diplomacy, but also a little bit of negotiations, and possibly, how there's more than one way or more than one solution, to get to an end result. You might have to go the roundabout way, or through the back door, that kind of a feeling. Let's see, what else? Try not to get in your own way. I see the clouds are there. So that kind of means, you're kind of thinking a little bit too far advanced. Try to live in that present moment. You got to handle the matters, the things that you learn, you need to apply them. Okay. In your own personal situation. But courage is definitely in the focus here, and a big love. And then the key has landed, so the solution will be found. Okay. Well, folks, I know it was a quick reading. I'm kind of have to get out the door again this week, but I didn't want to miss you. So until next week, have a very safe and happy week. And I'd love to sit down with you. If you'd like a personal reading, feel free to reach out. Take care. Bye-bye.